The trial of Karen Reed, it is getting underway. Opening statements being made by both the defense and the prosecution. Here's a little bit of the beginning of the prosecution's opening statements, and then we'll discuss.
You will hear various testimony about sort of issues in regard to his pancreas, how that's indicative of hypothermia. Now, again, as I said, this is the first of two times that I have an opportunity to address you directly. And I thank you very much for your attention today, and I thank you for your participation of your close attention as we go through all of the witnesses and all the evidence in this case. That second time that I do get to address you, what I'll be asking you to do, based on the evidence, and again, as the court has instructed you, you are the sole arbiters of the facts of this case. You are the ones who find what the facts, and I reiterate that, facts, and what the evidence demonstrates in this case. And what I submit to you at that time, that second time, is that the only true and just verdict based on that is that the defendant, Karen Reed, is guilty of murder in the second degree, striking the victim, Mr. O'Keefe, with her car, knocking him back onto the ground, striking his head on the ground, causing the bleeding in his brain, swelling, and then leaving him there for several hours in a blizzard, with temperatures in the teens, wind swirling around, snow piling up on his body, until she comes with Mrs. McCabe and Mrs. Roberts just after 6 a.m. And that she is also guilty of vehicular manslaughter, operating under the influence of liquor, and that she is also guilty of leaving the scene after causing death. Thank you very much for your time.
And that is
thank you, Mr. Lally.
That's the prosecution laying out their case. Of course, the defense saying complete opposite, that there was some sort of altercation in the house at the party, and that a dog was involved, and they beat him up and then left him in the snow. It's going to be interesting to hear both sides on this because there's a lot of pieces that I get both sides of this. I really do. And that's why we're having a trial. And that's why this is all going to be laid out in great detail and to hear the evidence. And I know some people think, oh, you're against Karen. I'm not against Karen Reed. I'm not, because we have varying voices on our show. I don't have a decision on this yet, honestly, at all. We have...
it's too soon to tell.
Oh, it is. I mean, we have Coffin Daffer on, who is very much in the camp of Karen Reed did it. We have Bob Mata on the show, who's very much, let's see what happens. The two are like opposite on opinions. But that's the beauty of what we do here, is we can have varying opinions and not try to kill each other. So it's an interesting case, no doubt. I mean, there's weird things here. There's the Google search by one of the friends in the house. It was not done by Karen Reed. At I believe it was like 2 a.m. How long before a body, or how long to die in the snow, or how long someone freezes to death in the snow, something of that nature. That wasn't by Karen. That was by one of the people in the house. So that kind of shows some knowledge that there's a body outside your house. Does it mean that you killed the guy and put him out there? No. But it means you have some sort of knowledge of it, probably. I mean, why are you Googling that? Unless you're wondering, maybe, where did John go? Like, did he slip? Did he fall? Did something happen? You know, what was... You could be in kind of like mysteriously wondering what the hell happened to your friend, and then you're like, I'm just going to Google this. It could be a lot more innocent than it is nefarious. Or it could be nefarious. That's why we're having a trial. But
there some of the text messages too that have come out even before the trial and during the opening day of the trial about was it Proctor was texting some friends of his, revealing some weird information, like he was talking about Karen Reed and how he hoped that she would kill herself or something like that. And that's a really weird thing to be texting about somebody.
Yeah.
And then the next couple of days, she's like arrested.
There's some weird, dark shit that was going on behind the scenes. And again, we have to remember, not all weird, dark, bad behavior of human beings means murder.
Right.
It looks very much like Karen was kind of having an affair with somebody, and he was kind of having an affair with somebody. They're not married, but they were girlfriend, boyfriend. So there looked like there was some cheating going on there. And that can lead to things. And then there's really bizarre shit too of some of the officers of what they were talking about and looking at her phone and the lack of the investigation. I believe there's something in there that was brought up in opening statements to the effect of one of the guys that was looking through her phone were looking for nude pictures of Karen Reed on her phone, and we're kind of disappointed they didn't find them. So you may just have kind of a group of Keystone cops here just doing really shitty work. Again, doesn't mean they killed their friend, but it means just a lot of really shitty behavior that's going on. I don't know. That's why there's a trial. That's why we're going to look at all these things and try to figure out what the hell happened. I kind of wonder if at the end of the day, no one really knows what the fuck happened.
I think that's a huge possibility. We know that alcohol was involved. One of the things that I would like to point out as somebody who's worked in the animal field, if those are in fact dog bites and lacerations on his arm, on O'Keefe's arm, could that have been a dog being protective of somebody and attacking?
It could be.
Because I've seen a dog feel like their owner or someone that they care about is being threatened and start attacking.
Well, and here's the problem with all of this is you're going to have expert witnesses. An expert witness, for everyone playing along at home, if you don't know what that means, it's someone who has nothing to do with the case. They're brought in because they're an expert on certain things. So like dog bites and things of that nature, they can say, yeah, this is the work of a canine or whatever it may be. You're going to have expert witnesses on both sides of this. One side can be saying from a very well-respected expert, this looks like it's an animal wound. And on the other side, you have another well-respected expert saying, this is not an animal wound. And it leaves the jury, again, kind of where they started. You have two experts, quote unquote, and the two that they have for this are actually very well respected on both ends. It's not like one was just kind of like brought off the street and go, okay, can you say this? Because there are those shitty type of expert witnesses. These are not that on this trial. So it just makes it more and more confusing as to what's real here and what's not. The trial is certainly getting underway. The tragedy unfolded on January 29th of 2022. Reed has maintained her innocence, pleading not guilty to all charges. Of course, it all took place in Canton, accumulating in the night that was marred with heavy drinking. Prosecutor Adam Lally delivered a stark opening statement detailing the events leading to O'Keefe's untimely death. Karen Reed is guilty of murder in the second degree, he said. She struck O'Keefe with a car, knocking him back onto the ground, causing critical head injuries from which he did not recover, Lally said. He painted a picture of a fatal altercation that left O'Keefe bleeding and swelling in the brain, ultimately leading to his death. In a dramatic counter, defense attorney David Yannetti contested the prosecution's narrative, claiming this client was a scapegoat in a broader conspiracy. Karen Reed was framed. Her car never struck John O'Keefe. She did not cause his death, and that means that somebody else did it, Yannetti argued. The defense has been vocal about the theory of the cover-up, suggesting that O'Keefe was actually assaulted inside the home and attributing his injuries to a beating and a dog attack rather than a vehicular assault. The jury selection process, which lasted 5 days, resulted in a panel of 17 jurors, 7 women and 10 men. There were initial concerns about the courtroom layout affecting Reed's right to a fair trial, leading to that last-minute switch to a smaller courtroom to address the issues. The first witness, Paul O'Keefe, the victim's brother, took the stand. His testimony provided a heart-wrenching account of the aftermath, describing the distraught Reed and the hospital screaming, "Is he alive?" as she was restrained by staff. Prosecutors have announced plans to call up 87 witnesses. Yeah. This is going to take a little while, while the defense may call up up to 77, indicating the extensive evidence and testimony is expected to be presented. There's some individuals are listed as potential witnesses for both sides, suggesting key overlaps in the narratives being explained. The trial expected to last 6 to 8 weeks. I'm going to go on a limb here and say, I'm going to say 12 to 14 weeks. If we're going to go through 87 witnesses and 77 on another side, I don't know how the fuck you're going to get this in 6 to 8 weeks. I just don't. It doesn't mean you're going to get all those people in, but yeah.
Right. That's a lot of people. We're starting to walk into OJ territory here. This is crazy.
Oh my God. Vinny from Court TV, closing arguments. He's over there and he's doing his show live in front of the courthouse right now. And he's comparing, he's like, we don't see this much. He's like, we saw this with OJ. We saw this, we didn't see this kind of vitriol outside the courthouse, even for Alec Murdaugh. But we literally have a dead police officer, a well-respected, well-decorated police officer, and you have all these people outside the courthouse protesting against the prosecution of Karen Reed. You would almost expect it to be the opposite if someone kills a police officer.
Yeah, especially in today's climate.
It's kind of unprecedented. It's very interesting. It's very bizarre. And like I said, I have no bone in the fight. I'm very curious as to where this all goes. And we'll cover it from both angles. Just talk about it from both angles every single day as the evidence is unveiled, because I don't know where the fuck this is going. This is not a case like Kohberger. This is not a case like Alec Murdaugh, where you really pretty much know the direction it's going. And some will argue on Kohberger, but I'm sorry, there's a fucking shitload of evidence there. There's evidence on both ends of this, of bad behavior, but I think a lot of it is separating out what's just bad behavior and what is criminal behavior. And that's what we have to go. Just because somebody did something shitty or bad doesn't mean they killed somebody. But we'll see how this all lays out in the next couple of weeks. If you want to follow just the trial itself, we have a channel for that on Apple Podcast, wherever you get podcasts. It's just simply called The Trial of Karen Reed. That's where you can listen to the trial coverage every single day, as well as our commentary, but you'll get raw courtroom audio every single day as this progresses on. And of course, if you're subscribing here on True Crime Today, it's there as well, or Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi, it's going to be there as well for you. So you can listen to all the coverage every single day. And we're going to cover this daily and break down what's going on, because it is going to be very, very interesting.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advance access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free,
so you can binge on True Crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.